Hey everyone, welcome to this week in marketing show, also known as the Twin Show. I'm your host Sajid Islam, and today I'll be going over the notable news and updates in the digital marketing space from the week of July 2020. We will start first with an update from Facebook, where Facebook just announced their Q3 earnings. Actually, it's Q2 earnings in Q3. This seems to be the earnings seasons. I mean, in the past 2 weeks, we have covered earnings report from other platforms, Twitter and whatnot. So this was an interesting report from Facebook, where they have added 100 million more users and reports an 11% revenue growth even during COVID-19. And why is this interesting? It's interesting because if I look at the numbers in detail, if I go beyond what they have reported or what's in the news, and I'm going to actually pull up the earnings report on my screen right here so that you all can also see what I'm looking at. What you will let me make sure. What you will see is again, if you're watching it on the video on YouTube, you will probably be able to see the screen. I'm going through, first of all, their daily active users in millions, right? It has gone up. And I think that's the one where they're saying they've added users and then blah, blah, blah. But, and it's actually about, if you look at like the daily active users and monthly active users, is 66%, which is about roughly about the same thing that they have their users, but they did that 100 million users. Now with Facebook, we do know that they sometimes go through this account cleaning process where they will delete some people's account. And I have seen and I've experienced this firsthand where I know people who have worked for me and they have lost their account just because Facebook went through it and they went back and created those new accounts. So Facebook doesn't really differentiate between those two things. So that's something very important to notice. And then if you're looking at the screen again, the other thing is like the average revenue per user. And that's a very interesting number. Their average revenue per users is about the same as Q2 2019. So year over year, and this is, I'm looking at the worldwide number. Last year Q2 average revenue per user worldwide was $7.05, and it's about the same again in Q2 20. So even though they've added 100 million new users, their revenue really hasn't really gone up. Or it could have gone down just because now they have 100 million more users. So some things like now we need to go and dig a little deeper, and that's what interesting. But but hey, we are all marketers. We don't really care whether it's Facebook is making money or not. But this is something we need to understand, because if we are advertising on Facebook, we need to know what's really happening. Like if we are going to travel on a ship, we want to make sure that the ship is solid and it is well built and all those things, right? Again, most of the time when we fly or we travel on a ship, we don't have to worry about it because we trust the process, the systems that are out there, whether it's the safety inspections and all the, rules and all those things that are in place. We know that, the ship is airworthy, and that there are countries where, they're not airworthy or seaworthy, and there are things they don't get to, they get flagged. But with Facebook, no one's doing it. Obviously the stock market does that, and then we cannot, as a marketer, cannot really go rely on the stock market. So for us, we need to actually look at to their earnings report and kind of triangulate and find our own answers, like to see where is this leading to. Especially we are not slowly, we're actually moving into the Q3/Q4 holiday season, which basically means we need to start preparing for ourselves. Is Facebook going to be a competitive market in terms of when it comes to advertising and marketing? And if so, what other channels should we focus on? That's where this is all driving. I'm discussing it not because I love Facebook or because I have stocks in Facebook, but because as a marketeer, is Facebook going to be our dominant advertising channel, or should we basically create a multi-channel strategy where 60% goes to Facebook or 50% goes to Facebook and everything else goes into other channels? But that's for you to decide. I know what we are going to do for our own businesses and clients we serve, but for this particular case, you have to decide, and you have to go through this report by yourself, and hopefully you will be able to come up with your own numbers. So with that, let's move on to the next update. But before we do that, one thing also you need to notice is how much cash does Facebook has on hand. That's very interesting, because once you look at that, and then this obviously update makes more sense, which is Facebook is now offering more money, or also offering money to Reels user to create TikTok type videos, right? Again, the battle is on, right? TikTok announced it last week. Hey, we're going to create a creators fund, and we're going to give you money to go create videos for TikTok. And Facebook's like, hey, we have the money. Why are we not going to do that? And then Facebook, this is, I think, their second try when it comes to creating short videos. The previously they failed, and again, they're not going to give up, because again, TikTok is highly addictive, guys. I'm telling you, if you have not been on TikTok, you should go on TikTok, again, not as a consumer, but as a kind of a strategist, as a kind of someone who looks at it and seeing where is this world going into, what's coming around, not today, what's hot, not today, but what's going to be hot 5 years from now, right? You don't want to miss out the next Facebook. And it seems like TikTok is all the buzz. Again, not just because TikTok is organically growing, but also it has all this virality that's been built into this platform, which actually really makes it very addictive. Short videos you can swipe up and share with very easily. One thing I will do note, I've noticed recently, is that TikTok doesn't allow you to download the TikTok videos that easily as it used to do previously. That seems like TikTok was playing this growth hacking space, growth marketing space, and now that they've achieved that growth, they've achieved that thing, they've turned it off so that now users stay more on their platform. Nevertheless, this is about Facebook. Let's focus on Facebook, which is now they're offering money to create um, TikTok type videos. They're calling it as Reels, and it's actually going to make it into YouTube. Oh, sorry, I apologize. It's not YouTube, but it's going to be on Instagram. Check it out. We are going to put the link into the whole article if you really want to read it. But basically, there is money available. So if this is something you want to focus on, please go ahead and tap into that fund, and that you will be glad you did. So moving on, our next update is from Snapchat. Basically, Snapchat has published a new study on evolving video consumption behaviors. Now, the thing is, guys, again, if you are not, even if you're not marketing on Snapchat or any other platforms besides Facebook or whatever, YouTube, whatever the channel, this is still, nevertheless, this is a very good read. I looked at it, and I thought it was very valuable, just because in terms of wrapping my head around not only just what I am doing in Facebook and YouTube and Google and Instagram, but just in general, where is this market heading into, right? Again, we don't want to be like, tunnel vision and just look at one channel and only one channel and then, lose out. Like, I'm especially calling out those guys who were really tunnel vision, because before Facebook, there was only Google, right? Only Google and only Google and only Google and only SEO. And what I think, while specialization does have its space, and then, specialization does have its place, but we need to know across the board in terms of what's happening in the marketing landscape and what's actually, really, because then again, we can actually make the right determination for our clients, right? And then we could specialize on one particular area, which is, hey, I know across the board, but again, I know very, very deep into Google. And that's what we do for our clients. And my clients love that, just because, I know across the board. I know all the platforms. I know the ins and out of all the platforms. I know the strengths and the weaknesses of the platforms. And then, I've gone very deep into the whole Google platform, just because Google is so deep. So coming back into the Snapchat report is, they talk about, in terms of, that short form video, and I'm looking at the report right now, the short form video provides flexibility, content should be personal, shareworthy, and relatable. Look, these are some things we all know, right? Oftentimes we overlook it. So it's a good thing to read and, see what it is. And also, I didn't know Snapchat is the go-to destination for meaningful connections, right? Who knew that? And again, those numbers can actually help you, and those strategy can help you, say, hey, if I'm going to coach, if I'm in the coaching industry, education industry, and I want to create meaningful relationship, maybe this is a platform I should try it out, right? We never know. You need to test. Always be testing. And folks, if you're not testing, you're losing out. So that's all for Snapchat. I don't want to talk too much about it. Let's move on to the next one, which is, I think, comes from LinkedIn. LinkedIn has published, again, new guide on setting your business up for recovery post COVID-19. So why is this worthy mentioning? Is that, look, COVID's here. COVID's really punched everyone in the gut, and everyone's really taking a breather or trying to figure out what's next. COVID's gonna go. right? COVID is not going to be here forever. And we need to start focusing on, what's going to be happening again after COVID. Now, LinkedIn is very interesting because we covered this also in our past episodes or shows where LinkedIn has actually taken a first step in terms of, being the content leader and being the platform, the business platform where they're actually helping platforms, businesses kind of position themselves with during COVID and post-COVID recovery. So LinkedIn is like, because LinkedIn being owned by Microsoft, they're thinking more from a business standpoint. Hey, this is what you need to do, and providing the thought leadership, right? Providing the thought leadership in terms of what we should be doing during COVID and post-COVID. Now, with that said, let me pull up the report that LinkedIn published so that I can actually share some of the points that LinkedIn has actually touched on. Okay, there you go. I pulled it up, and what I basically see here is that, this is, they basically divided this whole report into 6 parts. The first one is know your role. Second is current state assessment. And number 3 is tech stock. Number 4 is optimize and measurement strategy with LinkedIn. Number 5 is activate platforms best practices. Number 6 is align on goals. Now, what's interesting is that, it is very valuable, and I know I keep talking about something or the other that you all should read, and I link it from our show. It's like, these are valuable stuff. If you're in business or if you're in marketing and you're serious about this industry, about survival, we need to always be reading and always be learning. So anyway, rather than going so deep into each one of them, I'll just quickly say, one of the ways, I realized, and this is something I knew already, but I overlooked and I forgot about it. And that's the best part of going through some of these reports is like Google Trends, right? Focus on Google's trend. What LinkedIn is saying, hey, under tech stock, which is step number 3, is look at Google Trends and see what's happening in our industry, what's in demand, and things like that. And Google Trends has been actually a big predictor of demand as well as where the market is heading. And then obviously step 4 was optimize your measurement strategy with LinkedIn. And they basically talk about, in LinkedIn, you can be impression, reach, CTR, CPAs, and other business outcomes. Again, you could do that. And it talks about, how you could actually succeed in, best practices on LinkedIn platforms, right? And then aligning your goals and figuring out how you could actually market. Again, LinkedIn is definitely pushing you more into the LinkedIn platform, to asking you to advertise on LinkedIn. Again, you never know, right? There are people on LinkedIn. LinkedIn seems to be the platform for business to business relationship, professional relationship. Maybe it's a platform for you as well. If you haven't now tested, you would not know. So with that, definitely focus on LinkedIn at least a little bit. Spend at least 10% of your marketing budget, advertising budget on LinkedIn, and see where it goes, right? Okay, that's great. Let's move on to the next one, which is basically TikTok, right? The new kid on the block who seems to be making a lot of noises, as well as putting a lot of platforms on notice, and basically making platforms like Facebook the 800-pound gorilla into rethinking or innovating what they can do to survive. So again, this was something covered in the last week, which is TikTok says it will create a creators fund, and it will help create videos for TikTok. But now they're saying is that, and they updated it, and now they're saying they're going to pay creators a total of $2 billion in the next 3 years. So why is this news? It just tells you how serious TikTok is in terms of, not just advertising in the market space. And I've seen TikTok advertisements on Facebook, I've seen it on YouTube, and I've seen it in Twitter. Yes, I use all those platforms, and I've seen their advertisement everywhere pop. In addition to that, advertising and reaching people, it created that momentum, and now they want to capture that momentum and continue with this. Is that they're going to pay out creators and help creators create videos. That's one. Second thing is also it helps you, even if you're marketing for yourself or for your clients, it gives you a strategy, right? This is the purpose of this show, not just bring you the news, but also analyze it and tell you, look at what's the strategy, what's the growth hacking approach they're applying. Now, we may not have $200 million to play with or $2 billion to play with, and we may not be backed by China or whatnot, but we could still take that thing and scale it down and apply it to our own business. And how can we position ourselves to basically get the word out? Maybe 200, maybe 2,000, maybe 20,000, who knows? But the thing is, this is something, we need to take into account, that how is TikTok actually been able to grow? Because again, that's what they do in MBA schools, right? They do case studies. And I'm pretty sure if it is not already been done, TikTok is going to be a case study in one of those Ivy League universities in the MBA course, saying, how did TikTok achieve growth so fast, and what did they do, and what could have they done differently, and things like that. Okay, guys, so that's about it. Check it out. There has been update posted from TikTok in terms of, on their 200 million creators fund, which is going to be actually bumped up to $2 billion in the next 3 years. With that, let's move on to the next TikTok update, which is now TikTok is providing tips on how to boost content performance on the platform. So I pulled up that report, or the newsroom update from TikTok, or blog, whatever actual news announcement from TikTok. And obviously this is something, I have not created videos on TikTok, right? And I have, whatever I've done is I've consumed videos on TikTok, and I've basically been engrossed into it, just the aspect of it. But reading this article, or the news release, actually was very helpful. Like, for example, they said, vertical videos perform best on TikTok, so do videos that are longer than 5 seconds. That's good information. If you haven't done it, now you know what to do. Sometimes a great caption is just as captivating as the content of the video. Use space in captions to add context and share more about a video. Creative effects, voice effects, and sounds work well. Measuring video performance, how to measure, gauge, by looking at analytics. Switching to a pro account, use your analytics tool to gain better understanding of your content performance and engagement. Again, just by reading this whole news release, I understood like a lot of the stuff that I should be doing, I can be doing, and how I could be actually creating better content on TikTok, even though I've never created it. Now I can go in, and even if I start to create it, I have actually an idea of what I need to do, rather than creating a horizontal video and maybe of something that's like half asked, but just doing something which is, with this guidance, would be good like, hey, this is something I didn't know. There are hashtags that I can use to connect my videos to the right audience, likelihood, increase the chances. So that's good. Music and sounds, experimenting with content, blah blah blah. So guys, what I'm going to do is, we're going to put the link in the show page. Go ahead, check it out for yourself. Right, it's hard for me to go and in depth with this, all the stuff that's been covered in this thing. But I'm just saying it's out there. Check it out. If you're going to create videos for TikTok, this is something you should definitely check out. Now, moving on, the last update from TikTok has been, there has been a lot of rumors, and actually the TikTok ban. President Donald Trump has basically said he was planning to ban TikTok as of yesterday. I haven't heard anything about it. And yesterday being Saturday, I'm recording this show on Sunday morning. So maybe he has banned and I just haven't heard it. Again, along the same time, we've heard about Microsoft buying TikTok, right? And now that this morning I did read somewhere that, that talk is on hold because President Trump is thinking about banning TikTok. Now, if you've been following our show, I've talked about, TikTok may get banned. The US government is against it. Some of these services or corporations in America are against TikTok, and they've told their employees not to use TikTok on their phone, if it's corporate phone, things like that. So where this is all going is it's a very dynamic situation. If Microsoft does end up buying TikTok, or say if Google buys TikTok, which I doubt they would be able to, just because of the what is it called, the monopoly, I forgot what's the term, the antitrust issues that is around it in terms of monopoly that they will create. I don't think they will get through the regulators. Maybe they will, they're very good lawyers. But where I'm going with this is, if Microsoft does end up buying TikTok, that will be very interesting. They have TikTok and they have LinkedIn, right? Microsoft becomes this 2,000-pound gorilla that is gonna basically pounce and hit Facebook and Google so much that they will probably be suffering. So will Snapchat, Twitter, and Pinterest and whatnot, but I think there would be a big more to lose. How does this happen? I mean, if this deal will go through or not, I do not know. It's rumor at this point, but I'm pretty sure that TikTok will be bought out by some company out there, just because they need to divest and basically divorce that link between, not divorce is the right word, maybe break up that link between TikTok, which is owned by ByteDance, and China, right? That's where all this thing is happening, because again, somehow there has been report that, and somehow this has actually it has gone through the industry that, TikTok basically sends all the data to China, and this is a national security interest, and India has banned TikTok, and I don't think TikTok can take a ban from the US, because if it does take a ban from the US, then likelihood then Europe is going to follow, and if Europe is going to follow, then TikTok is as a product is just dead. Right. So it's the TikTok's founders, investors' best interest to divest, to basically find a new owner under new leadership that is not linked to China. So that will happen. Ban, even if it happens, it's going to be very temporary, because eventually they will unban it, basically bring it back in. But where it is, who's going to own it, we do not know. Right? It could be Microsoft, it could not be Microsoft, it could be Google, we do not know, but we'll have to say it. But if it's Facebook, guys, oh my God, that's going to be like, it's crazy in terms of everywhere, right? It's good and it's bad. It's going to be dangerous. So I hope that doesn't happen. With that, let's move on to the next one. Okay, moving on. The next one is from Google Chrome. So Google Chrome, basically what they've done is the Google Ad Transparency team, or I think it's called something around that, is they've basically created a extension that allows us to see all the types of ads that are run on that page. Now, here's interesting, and I will explain to you why I'm covering this in our show. Number one is it's a very early version of the extension. It's called the alpha version. That's what they're calling it, and I understand it. I've used it. Because sometimes what they're saying is, sometimes we go to a web page and they have a lot of other ads, like embedded ads, such as display ads or video ads embedded into it, and there are a lot of trackers that we don't see through our naked eye, because they're all behind the scene collecting data, and they're giving us the ability to really click on that extension and see what's actually being run on the page. Now, here's what's interesting, and this is why I'm covering it in our show, is because we as a marketer, this is like just God sent tool, right? Why? Now we could actually use it on our competitors and competitive analysis, like in terms of, that's an interesting ad. I wonder who they're running it against. I wonder where else they're saying it. Look at this from that perspective. That's one of the reasons why I'm covering it. I'm not covering it because, it's just, I am an end user, because this show is not for end users. This show is for marketers and business owners who are looking to get an edge in marketing and in business. So look through those lenses and you will see it is very valuable. I know we could do that by right-clicking view source, and then a lot of stuff happen again. Some of those things get masked by tag manager. So again, how effectively does this tool work? I haven't really thoroughly tested, but at an initial test, I liked it, and it just gives me all this information at my disposal very quickly, easily. I don't have to look at source, dig through all the source, HTML source, and things like that. So check it out if you haven't. You'll be glad you did, and then use it for I wouldn't say use it bad reasons, but use it to get some understanding of what your competition is doing. Where else can you advertise that your competition is doing and you're not doing it? That's the way you should be looking at it. Now, moving into the last part, I believe, towards the last end of the thing, is that Pinterest has basically shared a report where they have gone up to 400 million monthly active users, and they shared insights into rising usage trends. Again, they covered it last week, I'm covering it this week, I'm covering it all the time. It's like, guys, you don't have to necessarily advertise on that platform to basically read all these reports. And folks, you need to read just to understand where the market is going, what's in people's mind, what kind of stuff can you use to bring it back into your own channel wherever you're advertising. That's what you should be looking at. You should not be saying, oh, I don't advertise on Pinterest, or this is not for me. What you need to understand is it gives you a competitive analysis, or I wouldn't say analysis, I take it back, competitive information. It's like doing a recon mission where you're getting an idea of, okay, most people are thinking about meditation. Most people are worried about this kind of stuff. Then you take that thing and apply this to your business, to your strategy in the platform of your choice, right? That's how you should be, using this information, even though if you're not using it. So check out the report if you haven't, and figure it out. If there's some things you can use it for your business or not. And I'm going to go into the last portion of it, which is the last update from Twitter, is that Twitter is actually serving users to see, if they want to pay for Twitch subscriptions, if they want a Twitter with no ads, things like that. It's interesting because we just touched on it, I believe last week on the show, where we were saying that, hey, Twitter is thinking about doing that, but that won't come in 2020, but maybe 2021. Now Twitter is already surveying its users. So basically that shows Twitter is thinking of a different business model than Facebook, all the other platforms, which is they take out data and then they sell ads. Whereas Twitter is considering, hey, can there be a revenue model if people were to pay for it and see no ads, or people will pay for it and we'll give them certain features? It's interesting. Again, not only from the marketing standpoint, but also from a business standpoint, overall, what are the ways we could do to evolve our business, to innovate our business, and so forth. So anyway, there is nothing to link into it. I just wanted to kind of briefly mention this so that you kind of stay in the, be in the know and then figure out what's happening. So with that, already folks, that's it for this week in marketing. And now you know everything you need to know to be in the know. If you would like to read more, make sure you visit our show page where you will find the links to the articles. And if you enjoyed this episode of This Week in Marketing, make sure you subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Once again, this is your host, Sajid Islam, and signing off until next week. Bye-bye.